Yes, ma'am.
That's scary.
Wait a minute. Along with the governor, they were in the receiving line?
They were on the end receiving the handshake.
Just the governor.
They were shaking hands.
The governor and Olympia were standing at the head of the line receiving
the reporters
guests.
went through.
Oh, okay, so they went through it.
Right.
You know, what I wonder about is not who was invited, but why people would go, Tom.
Curiosity.
Okay.
Oh, he's speechless.
By the way, just to set the record straight, I turned down my invitation. So.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, listen, we do have time for barbs and bouquets. Less and less time, though. Go ahead, Marty.
Well, I have a barb and a bouquet for commercial radio in the Christmas spirit. I do have a bouquet for the relief work that they facilitate in getting poor people to have a nicer Christmas. I think it could go farther, but what the hey, I like it. And the barb is, I really hate the way my radio stations take off Christmas music starting at 6 p.m. on Christmas night. Please keep it on a few days later. There are 12 days.
Okay.
For all the avid darts, for all the network news programs and local news programs that feel obliged to urge Americans to shop as if it were their patriotic duty, I want to remind them that 3 months from now, the news organizations are going to be back telling Americans that they don't save enough and that they carry too much debt.
Shopping.
Yeah, right.
Tom? Okay, Al, go ahead.
I have a dart for the Bangor Daily News. Story that ran on the 22nd on the front page on tribal casinos, a national study showing that there was a great deal of waste, fraud, corruption, and that money was being siphoned out of Indian casinos across the country. Very relevant story because Maine is considering this very issue. The headline on the front page was fine, but when we get to the jump page, on page 2, we get a headline that says, Safeguards built into Calais Passamaquoddy Casino proposal. In the story, you will find one person who works for the Indian tribe saying, we will have safeguards built in, but there's no detailing what those safeguards are, and there's no information in here that tells me how Maine's casino would be different from all of these others that the story tells me are being very badly run. So what I would say is
mixed messages.
let's let the headlines reflect the story and not editorialize in them.
Like the other headline with the Clintons. Tom, anything?
I would like to second Nikki's comments about shopping. I've been particularly struck by how vacuous television news has been during this holiday season, and I resent the idea that I have to be told to go to the mall or to the shopping center, which I know is there and I know is open during the holidays. Okay. And I wonder what the collusion is between the advertising department and the news department.
We got to wrap. Last week we aired the Media Watch electronic mail address. Many people responded, a lot of people responded, wanted to know what email is. Well, it looks like this and comes to you by way of the computer networks that connect personal computers with each other and allows those with access to send very quickly messages and information. Reaction to our email announcement was instantaneous, with the first email arriving before the program was even off the air last week. From Portland came this letter. I'm very excited to see that Media Watch is on the internet. This is the first time I've seen an internet address included in the contact information of any informational program, local or national. And another one reads as follows. I was glad to see that more people are recognizing email as real mail. And more good wishes. Welcome to the future. Tell Tom to keep up the good work. Email also has brought the following comments about a recent Maine Sunday Telegram article concerning psychedelic mushrooms found in Ellsworth. The letter goes as follows. The article identified the species and included a close-up color photo and some fairly explicit directions to the field where they were found. What purpose is served by the inclusion of such details? Where do you draw the line of responsible journalism?
Where do you get reprints?
Pop quiz. Okay, what would you do?
Expect a call from the Maine Drug Enforcement Agency shortly after the show, Nikki.
Yeah, right.
Pop quiz, you don't include, I mean, there really were they practically put in a roadmap on where to find these mushrooms. I don't think it was a good decision.
All agree?
No, I think Diamond's first rule of journalism.
You put it, if you know it, you put it in?
The news, you know?
I think it's fine. Run it.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
fine.
A good question and a good answer, so we'll go on. Another writer comments about Tom's TV program, Mainly Issues. And the person says, this week's show was about the MCLU, ACLU, and he did not have anyone on his panel who was opposed to the ACLU's views on Christmas decorations at public places. Come on, Tom, let's have some differing opinion on the show. And finally, last week we looked at newspapers in northern Maine, among others the Fort Fairfield Review, and this letter writer says, thought you would be interested that the editor of the paper is Martha Reed, and she has only been on as editor of the paper for 3 or 4 months. She walked into the office and found that the editor was seriously ill and would be leaving. The owner said, "Yes, I have a job for you. You're the editor." She had no experience whatsoever, and I think she does a terrific job. She and her husband, by the way, run a family farm, apparently. Now, as promised at the beginning of the program, what you're about to see is a blur of information concerning advances and news stories from the world of information technologies. Had you started your videotape machine by now, you'd be able to read these pages by freeze-framing them on your tape machine. Now, if you can't do that,
Are there satanic messages in this?
send me a stamped self-addressed envelope and I'll send this, which is called EduPage, to you. You can send your request to Media Watch, 65 Texas Avenue, Bangor, Maine, 04401. And for those of you who can send email, our address here is greenman@maine.edu. One final note, Maine Public Television will soon have an executive producer for public affairs. Don Carrigan, formerly from the Maine Broadcasting System and now on Senator Cohen's staff, will be joining Maine Public Television in early January. Well, that's it for this week. Hope your holidays are happy and not too green. I'm John Greenman. Thanks for joining us.
With newspaper ads, billboards too, business Christmas cards, and commercials on a pear tree.